great to have so many members come along and attend these sessions so we can hear what's on your mind and try and answer your questions for you. As John said, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the external environment, and then I'll cover our performance as a group last year and some of our plans for the future. Now, I'm going to start with the external environment and with the Bank of England bank rate, or base rate as it's commonly known. Now, as I'm sure you all know, this is the rate of interest that the Bank of England sets, and it's the reference rate that the rest of the market, all the banks and building societies, use for our pricing of mortgages and savings. Now, back in 2006, 7, 8, this rate was around 5%, and it moved up and down quite a lot. It fluctuated quite a lot, and that meant that banks and building societies could pay relatively high rates of interest, and they moved them quite frequently as the bank rate moved about. Now, obviously, with the financial crisis, it fell to 0.5%, and it's been stubbornly there at 0.5% until last year, where we saw the first base rate change in 7 years. And unfortunately for savers, it was another reduction to just 0.25%. So what does that mean for the rates of interest that savers in the market have been receiving? Now, what you can see here are the average rates that are paid across the whole market by all banks and building societies on fixed and variable savings rates. And you can see since 2012, the rates have continued to drop despite the fact that the base rate has remained pretty constant, apart from the change last year. Now, the reason for that is as a result of what happened in 2012 when the government introduced something called funding for lending. And what that was designed to do was to encourage banks and building societies to lend more to mortgage customers, and in return they provided very, very cheap funding for them to be able to do that. And that's basically meant that the demand from banks in particular for savings customers has fallen off, and that's why we've seen a continued reduction in the rates that have been offered to savers, which clearly isn't great news for many people in this room who will be, to a greater or lesser extent, reliant on interest earned on their hard-earned savings. Now, looking forward, what does that mean for the rates that we've paid? Now, what you can see here is the rates of interest that were paid across the market in grey, and the average rate that we've paid our savers in blue at the top there. Now, because we're a building society that's owned by our members, we've decided over the past year to do what we could to try our best to protect our members, who are also the owners of our society, as you know, from that continued reduction in savings rates. And we forego some of the profit we could have earned by holding savings rates higher than the reductions we saw in the market. Our goal is to provide really good long-term value on the savings deposits that we're entrusted with by our members. There are times where we might be more or less competitive for new customers, but our customers on average are receiving rates of interest now that are 0.38% better on average than the rates that are available across the market as a whole. So what about the future? What's going to happen in the future? Now, this chart here shows the market's expectations of what was going to happen to base rate over the next few years. And in green, this was the position last summer, where you could see that actually no one was really expecting base rate to move very much, even over the next 3 or 4 years. But more recently, since the fallout from the Brexit vote hasn't been as terrible as everyone predicted it might, then expectation now is that rates will start to rise again, and they could be up at the 0.75 to 1% point in a few years' time. So hopefully that will translate into higher rates for savers to come, but wouldn't like to promise that, unfortunately, because we're beholden to what happens in the market. Turning to the mortgage market, the other side of our business, mortgage activity has been steadily growing over the past few years, but it hasn't yet quite got back to the levels that we saw before the financial crisis, and it's been affected more recently by some of the changes that the Chancellor introduced last year to stamp duty on second homes, and also changes to the way that buy-to-let income is taxed. And that's had an impact on the buy-to-let market in particular. Now, competition in the mortgage market has been particularly aggressive over the past couple of years. We've grown our mortgage balances steadily, but we've decided that we won't chase mortgage growth just at any cost. We need to make sure that we remain sustainable. And I'm proud that last year we managed to provide mortgages to 27,000 members who were wanting to buy a home. And of those, 6,400 mortgages were granted to first-time buyers making their first step on the property ladder. We've also been investing in our mortgage systems and processes, and last year we reduced the time taken for us to process a mortgage offer by 5 days, which is quite a lot. Now, last January we announced plans to close 22 branches and also to take the Barnsley Building Society and the Chelsea Building Society brands off the high street. Now, the majority of these closures were in towns where we had 2 branches with different brands, and so we reduced that to just 1, and it was a Yorkshire Building Society branch that was left in all those towns. And we also opened a number of new agencies, including 3 in 22 of those locations where we didn't have a branch. Now, we've made a conscious decision to focus on our core businesses of mortgages and savings. Customer behaviour in these core markets is changing, and customers have been using our branches less than they have historically, and they've been starting to use digital channels a lot more. Now, across our national network of branches and agencies, only 23% of customers chose to come and visit us to transact in one of our branches in the whole of last year. So that's 1 in 4 members chose to come in at all during the course of last year. Now, we have to make sure that we remain live to these changes, and we need to respond so that we can continue to operate efficiently and sustainably for future generations of members as well. And that's why earlier this year we made the difficult decision that we would be closing 20 more Yorkshire Building Society branches and also 28 Norwich and Peterborough branches in East Anglia. Now, all of our remaining branches nationally will be rebranded to Yorkshire, and we'll also be closing the Norwich and Peterborough current account, which is becoming more and more expensive for us to maintain. To be clear, we are absolutely committed to retaining the face-to-face service that many of our members, and I'm sure a number of people in this room, value. After these changes, we'll still have 260 branches and agencies with a strong national presence, as you can see from the chart on the right. All the green dots are where our branches and agencies are. And as you can see on the left here, this shows the number of branches that we have relative to our scale. And as you can see, still, even after these changes, we'll have significantly more branches relative to our scale than pretty much all of the competitors that you'll know on this same chart. Now, what we're going to do with the savings that we make from these changes is to reinvest that money so we can continue to provide better value to our members and in improving the service that we provide in other ways. Now, an example of that last year was the launch of our savings pledges, and these are 6 pledges that are our commitment to how we think all savings providers should operate for their customers. They include making sure that members can find out about new savings products that we launch as soon as we launch them, and they also include a 14-day pledge. So if you take out a savings rate product with us and we change the rate on and offer a new version paying a higher rate, then for 14 days after then you can come in and we'll give you that higher rate of interest as well. So actions like these and our passion to provide the best possible customer service that we can have led to an increase year on year again in our Net Promoter Score. Now, this score is one of the strongest measures of customer satisfaction, and it measures the proportion of our members that would recommend us as a business to do business with, less those that wouldn't. And our score last year of +31 is very, very high for financial services and around 4 times better than the market as a whole. And that's one of the reasons why we've been placed consistently as one of the top 3 most trusted providers of financial services nationally. We're very proud of that, and it's very important to all of us. And looking at ourselves in the context of the overall UK economy, not just financial services, for the past 2 years we're very pleased that we've been ranked within the top 10% of all UK consumer brands for customer service. So that puts us ahead of companies like British Airways, Waterstones, Boots and the RAC, and within touching distance of other brands that we all know, obviously, like M&S. And our goal is to try and get even further up that table if we can. That's what we're planning to achieve. It's also helped us at these improvements to win 15 industry awards in 2016. And these generally are recognition of the products and services that we provide, and also the support we provide to our communities. We've already scooped this year a number of awards as well, including 2 prestigious Process Network Excellence Awards, which recognise process improvement activity across all industries globally. And one of those awards was for the improvements that we made to our bereavement process, which is obviously a very important area for us to get right for our members. Now, one award we were particularly proud of last year was our award for Business of the Year in the Charity Business Awards. Now, supporting our local communities has always been a priority for us. It's right embedded in our DNA, and it's the very reason that building societies were founded in the first place. And that's why we've created a strategy for all the support we provide to our wider society, and we've called this Society Matters. And we've included this for the first time this year in our annual report and accounts, alongside those in a separate publication. So if you're interested, please do go and have a look. And I'd just like to take this opportunity really to thank anyone here who helped us with our partnership over the last couple of years with Marie Curie, where we managed to smash our original target by raising £1.15 million with your help and support over the last few years. That was an outstanding achievement, and that's helped to fund over 57,000 hours of Marie Curie nursing care. Now, our new charity partner for the next 3 years is a series of charities called End Youth Homelessness. And here we aim to help over 700 homeless people get their lives on track and into a home of their own. This is a huge challenge, but it sits right at the heart of our purpose as a building society, and I hope you'll find ways in which you can help us to support this charity partnership as well. Of course, none of this is possible without the help of our amazing colleagues, and I'm delighted that a number of them are here with us today. And they are absolutely key to delivering the service, the award-winning products, and for supporting customers and communities with the expertise and passion that they show day in, day out. Now, we'll work hard to continue to make sure that we attract and retain the best possible talent that we can, and to be a brilliant employer where people feel respected, valued, and above all, proud to work for Yorkshire Building Society. Now, looking ahead, I'm expecting that the mortgages and savings markets will become probably even more challenging, but they will continue to offer new opportunities to us as well. And we are well placed as an organisation to take advantage of the opportunities as they arise and to meet the challenges. And above all else, we'll continue to prioritise delivering great value and great service to you, our members, at the same time as making sure we remain a strong and sustainable business for future generations. We'll do this by being simply brilliant at providing mortgages and savings, helping people to save for the future, and helping to support them to buy a home of their own. Thank you. I'm now going to hand over to Rob.